Have you ever heard of the story where this man walks up to Dr. Joe Dispenza in the elevator and asks him if the work really works, if meditation works, if breaking the habit of being myself really works? Why am I not living in Barbados yet with my 10 dogs being retired? And Dr. Joe Dispenza goes, because the person living in Barbados being retired with his 10 dogs looks nothing like this. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's video. How do we break the habit of being ourselves and start living our dream lives? Hello everyone, my name is Fleur. On my channel, I talk all about self-development, manifesting, life lessons, and in general knowledge to help you become the best version of yourself. First things first, how did we create the reality that we're living in right now? Dr. Joe Dispenza says it this way: our personality creates our personal reality. But how does this work? So we're essentially all living in a loop, and that's going from thinking thoughts that make sure that we feel certain emotions, and those emotions lead to certain actions, and those actions create our realities. And this is a cycle that we repeat every single day, all day long. And as 95% of the thoughts that we think today are the same as yesterday, our personality is just a habit. It's routine. We keep thinking the same thoughts, which lead to the same emotions, that lead to the same actions, that lead to the same reality. So essentially, our personality is creating our personal reality. So how do we change our personal reality? Is by changing the way that we think, changing the way that we are, our personality. That's why we say break the habit of being yourself. New thoughts lead to new emotions. Those emotions lead to new actions, and those actions eventually end up creating a new reality. And of course, this is so much easier said than done because we are constantly being confronted by our environments. We're being triggered by people. We don't have the things in life yet that we desire. But Dr. Joe Dispenza says it this way: in order to build a new reality, you have to become a new personality. And in order to become a new personality, you have to think greater than your environment, greater than your circumstances. You have to think bigger than what you're seeing around you right now in order to become a new person that is thinking new ways, that is creating the reality that you so desire to have in your life. Okay, but let's break down how we shift our identity to become that new personality that is creating a new personal reality. That person that's living in full abundance, living in full freedom, having their own business, being surrounded by friends, having a loving partner, whatever you're dreaming of. Let's create that person. Step one is becoming aware of the old self, the person that you are right now. What is your reality looking like, and what are the thoughts that are going through your head all day long? What are you thinking about the majority of the time? How do you think about yourself? Do you believe in yourself? Do you feel like you're worthy of it? Do you criticize yourself maybe? Are you a perfectionist? What are the things that are going on in your mind all day long? In order for you to change into a new personality, in order to create a new personal reality, you have to become familiar with who you are. So what I love to do to become aware of my habits, my thoughts, is to sit down, grab a journal, and just write down what I feel like. When I wake up, do I feel happy? Do I feel sad? Do I feel anxious? Do I feel stressed? What are the emotions going on in my body, in my life? Once you know who you are able to change. Becoming aware is the beginning of the changing process. Step number 2 is deciding who you want to become. Who is the person that you want to be? Is that somebody with their own business? Is that somebody with a dream job? A person that has a loving relationship? A person living in a lush villa? A person that has a charity? Whatever you want, describe that person for yourself. What kind of thoughts does that person have during the day? How do you look at opportunities? Do you think you're worth it? Do you think you believe in yourself? Would you take action from the point of confidence, from the belief in yourself, from wanting to make this work? And if it's hard for you to sort of envision what that person looks like, you can take somebody else as an inspiration. If there's somebody that you look up to, somebody that is living in the dream reality that you wish to be living in as well, you can sort of look at what their characteristics are and write them down. And then envision yourself being that person. Like, how do you talk to yourself all day long, being in that dream reality already? This step is so incredibly important because getting clear on what you want is half off the work of creating your new reality. Because if you can think about the things that the new person thinks about, and what that person that's living in that new reality does all day or thinks about all day, you are almost there. Because if you can think about it, you can become it. If you can reach it with your thoughts, it can show up in your reality as well. And step 3 is meditating on your new personality. You don't just become a new person by thinking logically. You want to invest energy and vibration into that new person. The thought that you're sending out of a new personal reality is the sign that you're sending to the universe. And then the emotion that you're going to feel when you are thinking that thought is the one that is attracting that new reality into your life, because the thought leads to an uplifted emotion, feeling inspired, feeling passionate, feeling joyful for this new reality, this new person that you're creating. And those emotions are directly going to be affecting the new actions that you're going to take. And those inspired actions are going to lead to a new reality. And the most beautiful thing about closing your eyes is that you're actually not confronted with your environment anymore. And this is the best way to change your reality. Because if you can envision, if you close your eyes, and you can envision yourself being that new person with that new characteristic traits, those new thoughts, believing in yourself, thinking that you're worthy, loving yourself, you send so much energy to that new personality that you're creating during your meditation, that your body starts believing that it's living in that new reality. And all of a sudden, when you get up from your meditation, you have different thoughts. And those thoughts lead to different emotions. You feel happy, you feel uplifted, you feel more loving, you feel more caring, passionate, more inspired. And those emotions lead to different actions. Actions lead to a different reality. And step 4 is all about bringing that person from your meditation into your every single day life. So Dr. Joe Dispenza has these walking meditations, and this is actually the perfect way to bring that new personality that you're creating into your every single day life, because you want to be able to remember that new person that you're creating so well that you're able to remember that person with your eyes open. Walk as it, act as it, become it. If you're able to do it with your eyes open, you're bringing that person into your new reality. You're bringing that person into your life. And all of a sudden, when you create that personality in your meditation and during the day that old personality shows up, you remember the new person you're creating. All of a sudden, you're able to correct yourself from the old habits that you're doing, the old thoughts, and you're able to think bigger thoughts, greater thoughts, new thoughts that are creating new emotions. And this is exactly why the thought is the signal to the universe, but the emotion is the one that draws the reality to you. Because if you're able to think a different thought that is going to make you feel inspired, motivated, more passion, more joy for life, you're automatically going to take different actions than if you felt down, you felt like you were not good enough, you're not believing in yourself. Those are thoughts that are supporting negative emotions, and those negative emotions lead to different actions that are not going to support your new reality. So if you want to break that cycle, you have to become, embody, and think in a new way. I'm going to quickly talk about 3 common mistakes that people make while breaking the habit of being themselves. The first mistake is waiting for evidence to show up in your life before changing. So many people say, I will wait for the money to show up in my life in order to feel abundant, or I will wait for the loving partner to show up in my life for me to feel love. But it's actually all about energy first. Energy is actually the first step for anything to show up in your life. If you are walking into a new room, you introduce yourself energetically first before anyone notices your smile or your body language or the way that you look. We so often forget that energy is the first step to creating anything, because we're so used to beliefs like, well, let me see it first before I believe it. But actually it's the other way around. And if you start knowing that it's the energy first, you're going to create so effortlessly and so easily, and your reality is going to show up in no time. The second mistake that people make is only doing the work sporadically. Think about it as going to the gym. You can't expect yourself to become extremely fit if you're only going to the gym one time a week. week. You have to be consistent in order to become fit. And the same goes for rewiring your brain. If you want to become a new personality in order to create a new reality, you want to be consistent in showing up for yourself, showing up for that new version of you. You want to connect to that new personality so often that you cannot forget who you are creating. And eventually you become that person, because rewiring means new thoughts, new emotions, new actions, a new reality. The third mistake that people tend to make is getting stuck in the old identity emotionally. So when you catch yourself thinking old thoughts or doing old habits that are not supporting the new personality that you're creating, do not only catch yourself, but also move forward. Don't judge yourself, but step ahead. Don't linger in that feeling like I was the old personality again. I did something wrong. That's not helping. That is keeping you stuck in the old identity emotionally. You really want to take that next step to creating again. You want to say, okay, I saw that thought. I'm now going to think that thought and choose a different thought and feel emotionally different. And that is going to eventually start that new loop again. So before ending this video, I would love to know if you try out this identity shifting method by Dr. Joe Dispenza on breaking the habit of being yourself. Please leave it down in the comments and let me know who you are creating. What kind of person are you becoming? I'm so excited to be hearing about your stories. I hope this video inspired you to start creating that new personality for yourself in order to start living in a new personal reality. I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm going to be seeing you in the next one.